Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of Just Call Me Bridget podcast. I really do hope that you like this podcast, and if you do, please subscribe to the channel. And also, if you would like a bit of more information, please join my Patreon because it really supports to help the podcast grow. And I really only want to bring the best guests out for you. I hope you enjoy another episode. And I hope that I do give you some new knowledge that you didn't know before and it was helpful. This is all why I do this. I started this podcast just to help all the visa holders out in Australia because I didn't have enough information when I started, and I really want to make this experience a lot better for you than it was for me, that you can just come to this podcast and you'll get everything you need to know to succeed in Australia. Thank you. All right, guys, welcome to the 14th episode of Just Call Me Bridget podcast. And today, next to me, I have Kätriin Rüütel. I'm actually so excited because she's one of a good friends of mine. She's been here almost the same. She's been here from 2019, almost the same as me. So close coming to 6 years in Australia.
Yeah.
And she is one of a kind because she has been able to literally pick out the jobs in Australia that are known as one of the highest paid jobs that literally a farm worker can do. So just going through your LinkedIn, you worked, as a seller hand, then you already moved to work for Labour, which is a solar farm company. And then, moving forward, you've been an electrical trade assistant for some time in FIFO, also working for bigger companies like Monadelphous and Civmec as an electrical trade assistant and also mechanical trade assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So very exciting. Welcome to the podcast, Kätriin.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited as well.
Yeah. So, just before we move on to all of the FIFO life, which is I'm really excited to get into you with that one. I think it's been, a dream for so many women that come to Australia to really get their, foot into the mining industry, really.
Yeah.
And also, the higher paying farm jobs like solar farm is. Do you just want to go through, what brought you to Australia, initially, and how has your journey gone through, like where you travel, where you've been, and where you worked, and so on?
Yeah. So ever since I was in school in Estonia, I've always kind of known that I want to travel a bit before I go to uni. And I chose Australia because obviously we all know like, oh yeah, like we're gonna make millions here, it's gonna be good. But my initial plan was only to come here for like a year, if not even that, because I wanted to actually go finish my Australian journey in like around May, June, and actually do a season in Ibiza and then go to uni in September in Estonia. But obviously COVID happened, and I remember because I was just like, oh, I don't know, like if I want to stay here or what, because I was so fresh here then. And I was talking to my mom about it, like, should I come back to Estonia because, the borders might be closing soon and who knows what's going to happen. And my mom was just, honestly, I think you should just stay in Australia because you have your job here at the moment, which is actually a really good paying job as well. And second of all, it's in the middle of like school year, so if you want to go to uni, you can't go to uni. You're literally just gonna be at home. There's no work, so you'll just be chilling, doing nothing. And I was like, yeah, well, that's actually a very good point. So that's how I stayed in Australia. So yeah, my first ever job, like not my first ever job, but my first real job in Australia, I actually got like 4 months after I moved here. So that was a cellar hand job in a winery. And I was so lucky because that time COVID was here as well, and people were obviously getting, let go of jobs because they didn't need them anymore. But the seller job that I had, they were so good to me because they knew once they're gonna let me go, I had probably nowhere else to go. And so they just kept me on even after the season was ended. So I was just doing bits and pieces. There was no work. I was mostly just doing cleaning work. And finally, I was just like, I've been in New South Wales for nearly a year now, well, 9 months. And I was like, I'm kind of bored of it. There's nothing going on. I want to go to Queensland. But in order for me to go to Queensland, because the borders were also closed between Australian states as well, so you couldn't really go there that easily. And I had to find a job in Queensland first to get like a job letter that you letter offer or something to get into Queensland. So I found a really shitty job, to be fair. It was called grape tree pruning and rolling back like up north in Emerald or something. And so I did that for 2 weeks in Queensland, just because it was also, you had to kind of quarantine as well. So that was also my quarantine kind of thing. So I was doing quarantine for 2 weeks there. And once I finished that, I went to Brisbane. I wanted to work in the city. And I was working in a Mitsubishi and Kia dealership, which was actually pretty cool, not gonna lie. I could literally drive around with like brand new Mitsus and Kias around Brisbane city. It was amazing. And then I got into a solar farm, and I was so excited because solar farms back then were like, yeah, the highest paying jobs, because FIFO was pretty hard to get into. So solar farm was the next best thing. But when I did get that job, I moved to Griffith, back where I actually had my seller hen job. So I had to move back to Griffith, and I was waiting there to actually start for like probably like, I don't know, a month. And I was just, every single week they were like, oh yeah, you're gonna start this week. Never happened. And I was like, I was losing hope. I was like, I'm never gonna start solar farm. And I was just, again, like without money and without no income or anything. But I ended up going there, and then ever since it's been so good, just project after project after project. And then that's how I feel like I also managed to get into FIFO as well, because obviously had this trade assistant experience.
So what made you to come to Perth, really?
Oh, yeah. So it was all my ex-boyfriend at a time. So we were in South Australia, and after that, we were actually... So I actually wanted to travel the East Coast, because he already has done the East Coast. He was like, well, I want to do Western Australia and like Northern Territory. And I was like, okay, fine. So once we finished the solar farm project in South Australia, we went traveling for Northern Territory and then Western Australia. So we ended up in Perth, because he was obsessed to work as a FIFO worker. So that's why we kind of ended up in Perth, for him to go into FIFO, basically.
Well, worked out well for you.
It worked out,
right? Yeah. So how did you get your first FIFO gig?
So my first FIFO gig was obviously, but I always kind of know, like I always felt like I'm never gonna get in, because I'm a girl, and I've always heard like it's so hard to get in as a girl, and I just never really thought about applying or anything. But looking back now, it's just a bit silly for me to think that, like, you know, you never know once you don't try. So but yeah, my boyfriend and I both, when we arrived to Perth, we started applying for like loads of FIFO jobs on Seek. And I think 2 weeks in, when we were like applying for them, he got a call back, and they were like, yeah, we would like you to start. And he was like, okay, amazing. But my girlfriend has also sent a resume through and applied for this position. Can you please look her as well? And then they were like, yeah, no worries, you know. So a day goes past, I've heard nothing back. So he called again. He was like, so my girlfriend here is, you know, waiting for a call. So, you know, have you looked at her resume? And they were like, oh, can she just send it to my email? So I sent my resume to this recruiter's email, and obviously heard nothing back for the next few days again. And then my boyfriend got a call from the recruiter. I was like, hey, so we'd like you to start on, you know, in that date. And then my boyfriend was like, well, I'm not going to start because you haven't hired my girlfriend yet. So until you haven't hired my girlfriend, I ain't going to start. And I was
pretty
like,
brave for like,
I know,
for him to say that before starting his first job anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
I was literally listening to all those phone calls, and I was like, oh my God, I feel so embarrassed for me, you know. But honestly, after that, like an hour later, I got a call from the recruiter. I was like, hey, so you got a job? And I was like, oh wow, great. And we both started the same day as well. So that was good.
That's good. And that was like trade assistant role,
straight up electrical trade assistant, yeah. But I also had no tickets back then. So I had to, like, before I started this job, I had to literally the same day when I got the job, I had to book in all my working at heights, EWP, forklift, everything, and finish them in 1 week.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was like a full-time job.
Mm.
But I managed to do that.
How did you find your first, it's just like FIFO swing?
So my first FIFO swing was actually really good. Well, it was actually a chaos, to be fair, as well, like in a funny way, because I have never used a power tool or any tools in my entire life, like not a drill, not a grinder, nothing. And coming from overseas, I didn't even know what half of those tools were called and what they did. But I was pretty open about it, that it's my first job. I've never used those things before. So my supervisor was very welcoming. And when I had to go on site and actually, start to do stuff, then my supervisor went to the boys, was like, okay, so can one of you please help this girl out, because she's lost, she has no idea what she's doing, so can you just help her to do stuff, like use the tools and stuff. And then basically I was put in with this one apprentice, and he literally taught me every single power tool and how to use it and everything, what they're called, and the whole entire day. So I remember we were literally just drilling holes inside the bracket for hours, and he was just standing next to me and doing nothing, like just watching me. And I was like, okay, we go in again, or reverse, it's stuck again, what do I do? But it was good. I mean, I'm a professional now, so thanks to him, shout out.
So what would you say, like, if there's someone, some women listening to this podcast right now, and they're like, they really want to get into FIFO, or they've already gotten their first swing approved and they're like a bit scared? Because I always say that too. It's like Australians are so good with teaching, and they always like take, especially when you're starting off as a trade assistant, no one really expects you to be like, highly trained or whatever. What would you say to them, like to prepare them really for their first swing?
I feel like if you don't know anything, just ask loads of questions, just observe as well what people do, because that's what I did, and people loved me, because there was other girls on site as well that were basically the same clueless as me, but they never asked questions, and they never tried to even like initiate, like, hey, like, can I help you with something, for example. So they were just watching there and just, they didn't really get to learn much. Whereas I was just like, just what can I do, give me something, like teach me how to do stuff. And I feel like, just ask questions, be confident, because obviously you belong there the same as any other person does. And that's
So almost, coming to 6 years, and all your plans to go to uni back home and whatever have sort of disappeared. So are you planning now to stay in Australia?
Yeah, I love Australia. I fell in love. Like, all my friends are here now, and also I finished high school and I moved straight to Australia. So I've lived my whole entire adult life in Australia. So it's basically all I know. So moving back to Estonia would be so sad. I would cry. But with uni, I am thinking of obviously studying. I do want to study to become a cosmetics nurse, to be fair, but the uni here is really expensive, so I'm not sure if I can afford it, but basically just see what will happen in the next few months or years.
So if you can sort of like look back, like, did your expectations of Australia, were they what you thought they would be, or?
So expectations obviously was the money. So I thought, I'm gonna move straight here, I'm gonna be a millionaire, like we all think, but it's not as easy. You have to really be lucky to also get those jobs, and lucky to get onto a new job straight away when you first arrive. But also like spiders and snakes, for example. When I first moved here, I thought I was gonna be like, snakes and spiders will be everywhere and I'll be dead basically. But to be fair, like, you never see them when you're working in the city. You never see them, and unless you're in the outback, but they're still, you rarely ever see them. And so that was an expectation that was proven wrong, kind of. And I also thought I was also gonna be a surfer girl. and we're
Oh my god, same.
yeah. And it turns out when I did try surfing, I found out that I have motion sickness and I throw up each time when I go on a surfboard. So that no, literally. So that didn't work out well either.
Oh my god, I had that same thing. I thought I'm gonna be like the biggest like Gold Coast freaking surfer girl, whatever.
Yeah.
Never tried surfing.
You never tried surfing?
Never.
And you've been here nearly 6 years.
What would you say would be like the biggest cultural adjustments you've had to make to settle into Australia?
The good thing about Australia is there's not really much culture. So there's not really much you have to settle in. Only thing is, for me personally, was the slang. So that took me a while to get used to it. So on my first proper job that I had as a cellar hand, it was actually bottling. I did bottling as well for a company. But I was working and then it hit like 10 o'clock or something. And then the supervisors were like, okay, smoko. So everybody just stopped their tools, what they were doing, and just left. And in my head, I was like, well, I don't smoke. So like, I'm going to stay here and keep working. So I was the only one, just kept working until like a few minutes later, the supervisor came back and was like, Kat, like, do you not want to like go? And I was like, what you mean? It's like, do you not want to go and like, for your break or like for your smoke go? And I was like, I don't smoke. It's, it's fine. I don't smoke. And she was like, no, you don't have to smoke. It's, smoke go. You can you can eat, you can be on your phone, you can just do whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and I was like, okay, well, that's when I found out that smoke means break in Australia.
Oh my god, imagine if it took you like a few months to get to that, like just being like really hungry until like lunchtime.
Literally.
Yeah. So, you studied all of your tools in Australia, like same as me. So all of the tool names would then be in Australian slang, I assume so as well, because I've had chats with like other people who are coming here and they're like, oh my god, like all the tools that I know are now in slang.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't even know what the tools might actually be properly called. So maybe that I am using this language. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. That's, yeah. And it still takes me a while, to be fair. Like, I know the tools and everything, but I still get confused sometimes with the words.
So looking back at your journey, what would you say, like, would maybe, like, be the hardest things for you in the Australian experience all over? What have been the hardest moments for you, or do you have like, I don't know, something like pros and cons that you keep going back to?
Hardest thing of Australia. I feel like everything is quite easy for me. No, seriously, I've been very lucky. But so yeah, now I know. So I feel like fight for just construction in general. That's not what I actually want to do in the future. I don't actually like the job that I'm doing. I just like the money. That's the only reason why I'm doing it. So I think that's definitely like a con and a pro. So, money is great, but con is you don't want to do it. And for you to also, it's also like, as a backpacker, I feel like it's a safe thing to do here as well, construction, because everybody does it here. So for you to actually like move forward, like go to an office or try anything new is just so out of your comfort zone. So you just stick to, being safe, basically. Yeah.
Do you ever get that? Because I sometimes feel like, I've been in doing FIFO for 2 or even nearly 3 years now. And I always feel like such like mood swings, like being at work, just because I'm always like, I like the job and you sort of always get used to like what you're surrounded with. But then I'm always like, I don't know, I just like get these like massive mood swings because of like what you said, because I'm doing something that I don't really enjoy, or I'm not like extremely passionate about it.
Yeah.
So it's just like counting hours really. So do you ever feel like that, or do you just...
I don't get mood swings, but I do get like not sad, but I do know where you're coming from, as in like, yeah, like I don't enjoy that. But for me, it's just I try to just remind myself why I chose that lifestyle as well, because it pays well and that kind of affords me to travel, and I love traveling, and I also love the week off. So it just I have to just constantly remind myself that why I'm there and why I'm doing what I do. So yeah, if I would have probably worked in the city in an office, I would have not gone on as many Bali trips or as many Dubai trips as I've done now. So, and afford nice clothes, for example. So yeah, yeah. Oh my god, that
Yeah,
was
the
awkward.
FIFO the FIFO roster is just so good because I could not, like in the city you only have like 1 or 2 days off in a
Yeah,
week.
because that's what happened as well. Like I had a 10 and 4 job for like 2-3 months last year, and like 4 days off. It's still a long time, but for me, it's like, oh my god, nah, it's too, I need my 7 days. Like 4 days, I can't even go to my appointments. Like, no.
Yeah. Okay, so I really want to like sort of dive into your FIFO experience, sort of like as a female, because you're stepping into that male dominated industry. And, what shook me to the core really, like just a few weeks ago when I was having a chat with like my coworkers, and I was sort of like just telling them like about like my mining industry like experiences, and how I've sort of seen like so many women struggle in that industry because of you can have those like conflicts. I would say like when I started a few years ago, like now it's so much better because I feel like there's so many more females in that industry.
Definitely.
But then my coworker said that I think we don't realize that only 20 years ago they would still have skimpies in like mines.
Mine
So like at the
sites.
mine sites. So
Oh.
that was still the culture that we're coming out of. And I've just had like all of these chats, and we spoke about this before we started recording as well, like that I've probably had like a bit more weirder, worse experience that maybe you have had. And I also feel that way because of my job is so much different than yours. I'm sort of in the customer service role where I'm like I get stuck in certain situations that you wouldn't maybe get when you're a trade assistant because you're working in a group. Whereas I always like move to different sites, and I'm like so much more accessible to everyone being in a tool store. So what would you say, like what's your experience in the FIFO industry when we just look at like your experience as a female?
My experience overall, it's been really good. The boys on site have always been so nice to me and always ready to help me. But what I've noticed is, because I am a girl, and every single job that when I start, or people that I haven't worked before and I have to work with them, I always have to prove that I am capable of doing those things, and I know how to use a drill, or I know how to do this and that. So that's just one thing that a little bit frustrates me, because if it would be a boy and working with new people as well, they would never think that they don't know how to do things. I would automatically just give them a drill and be like, hey, okay, can you drill a hole? Whereas for me, it's like they don't trust me. They don't let me do anything unless I have to ask to do stuff, and then that's a bit frustrating.
But also we talked about like how that can be such a pro as well, because if you
Yeah.
are going into as a greenie, you can really sort of use it
Yeah, no,
use
definitely.
it
And
for
it's
your
like,
advantage,
so heavy for me. Can you please pick it up for me? I'll be with that.
Yeah, no, we are. A little commercial break from this amazing podcast. I just wanted to shout out Pleasant Active products for you guys, because I've been using them for the past few weeks and it's been absolutely amazing. I'm already seeing the changes that my hair goes through. So I've been using their shampoo, conditioner, and also their hair serum oils. It's absolutely amazing. I started using them because my hair used to be very long. It was really healthy and very thick and nice. But I just lost all of that when I moved to Australia because of working in the farming industry and also in FIFO. my hair is also always exposed to very dusty environments, and also the water here is a lot harsher. Because I keep bleaching my hair as well, it's done its damage. But these products have really helped me to start my hair growth journey and really get my hair back to its healthy state. They use all of these amazing ingredients like placenta extract, keratin, liquid silk, glycerin to really nourish and strengthen your hair. I'm very excited to share with you my journey on how my hair will start growing back to life. And if you want to try out these products as well, please use a discount code which is the same as my Instagram username, so Birgit HVA. So it's like my name, Birgit Hyvä, but just skip the U in the middle. So let me know how you go if you do try out these products, and let's grow our hair long together. So really, you know, diving deep into your FIFO experience, have you had any like sort of uncomfortable situations when being on site, and you know how you've really handled them, and what you feel like is important for a female to survive the FIFO industry?
Definitely. I feel like as a female, you always get those inappropriate comments or sometimes just inappropriate way of touching. So what I usually just, when they say something inappropriate, I usually just brush it down with humor. Just, you know, because I don't really let it get to me either, because it doesn't really do anything for me anyway. So I'll just brush it out and then just live my life. But at camp, I do get a lot of stares. Like when I walk around to the gym in mass, people just stare. They just, even if they're not facing you, they just look back and they just don't stop looking. But for me, what I've done recently is just, I don't like, I used to be like, oh, when they looked at me, I looked down. I was like, oh my God, you know, like this is awkward. Whereas now I stare at them back, and I just stare at them until they get uncomfortable and they stop staring at me. So that's what I usually do. So for me to just, like for other women, I think it's just you have to be really confident to be in their industry, because you have to just kind of know how to, you just have to know how to stand your ground. And if you don't like something, just be vocal about it and talk about it, and even, yeah, as I said, give them a look back. And
yeah, I think especially as a backpacker, you know, there's so many women that have, you know, gotten into those situations that they don't want to be in. And you know, especially when, you know, I've had other females come up to me inside and like tell what's been going on with them, but they're maybe doing a sponsorship on that side. So you know, really calling up everyone to like really, you know, share what's going on site with you to someone you can trust.
Exactly.
Because you know, I've been kicked out of site when I opened up about something, and the person who did that stayed.
Oh wow.
So I think it's really important to really know like what you're doing and who you're opening up to as well, because people like the drama and people like taking like escalating things into the wrong direction maybe that you don't want to get it to.
100%.
So yeah, I think that's like really important. What would you say, like what keeps you like mentally, you know, strong and going through, like just getting through your long like FIFO swings?
For me is when I'm at work, I usually have a very strict routine that I follow. So when I finish work, I usually go to the gym straight away, and that's me just keeping myself busy. And I have dinner, and then once I finish that, I usually just catch up with friends, watch videos on TikTok, you know, and that's just how I keep myself busy. But also I like to make plans already for my weeks off, so that I always have something to look forward to. And I love to do that. And I sometimes even go to Bali for a week off, because yeah, it's, you know, you can do that when you do FIFO. In a normal job you couldn't do that. So
what is the longest swing you've ever done?
It's just only been 4 weeks.
yeah that's a long time. Yeah, I think my maximum that I got into is 5 weeks straight with one R&R in between.
Yeah, it was the
That
same
was
for me, like one R&R, yeah.
Um, is there anything that, looking back now, you wish that you've known before starting FIFO?
I feel like before I started FIFO, my time went so, like, not slow, but it went slower because I did more, because I was not working away all the time, and I got to see my friends all the time. Whereas working FIFO, I feel like you're working like 3 weeks at a time sometimes, or 4, and then you go home for a week and you just look back and, you know, a month is already gone and a year is already gone, and what have I done? Nothing, you know? And I feel like that's what kind of made me think about more as well, like money is not everything. Since I used to always, when I first moved to Australia, I used to work for years, like non-stop with no breaks in between, really. And looking back now, I have done nothing. And the past 2 years, I was like, okay, yeah, I have all of those savings, but, you know, what do I have to talk about? And now I'm just taking life a bit more chill. Like, I obviously work FIFO and everything, but every single time when a project finishes, for example, I take 2 or 3 months off, and I just enjoy the unemployment life. And I travel a lot. I've been to Bali loads, and Thailand, Dubai, and around Australia as well. I just enjoy my life a bit more, and it's just a bit more relaxed, and I'm not worrying about that much about money anymore. Just experiences, kind of.
Do you feel that the companies on site are doing their best to keep women feel safe in the mining industry?
I actually do think they are doing a really good job, because I've worked with the girl before on my first ever FIFO job, to be fair. She has gotten 2 guys sacked because somebody's just said something inappropriate or done something inappropriate. She went straight to the superintendent supervisor, I reported it, and the guys were flown out the same day. So I think they take it very seriously. And I've also had a safety guy actually that was a bit of a creep on site and was following around girls and always talking to girls. He didn't really talk to guys about like safety or anything, just girls. And the supervisors actually started noticing that that's a bit weird. So even he got sacked. So I really do think they take a really good care of that, and all of those inductions as well. When we start a new job, there's a lot sexual harassment, bullying, everything. So
yeah, I do agree. Looking back on your journey, like when you first arrived to Australia, what would you say are like the most memorable things for you?
Most memorable things. When I was traveling Australia in a car for like 3 months. I was literally living in a car for 3 months. I did basically all of South Australia, did all of Northern Territory and everything north from Perth. And it was a really cool experience, very different. I ended up hating camping after that. Like I used to love it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is so cool. But now I'm just like, oh my god, don't no. Like if like my friends are sometimes like, oh, let's go camping. I'm like, yeah, okay. But in my head, I'm like, no. Like I'm so sick of it now. But it was a really cool experience. And what else? What else has been a highlight? Oh, I went to Melbourne by myself one time, and I loved it. I made 2 friends in Melbourne. I got TikTok famous. Well, not really, but I did ended up being on a TikTok, and it got 30 million views.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so that's like a cool experience. Probably wouldn't happen in Estonia. Yeah.
How has Australia like impacted you as a person? Like, do you feel like it's changed the whole personality of like who you are today?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so I am definitely more confident and independent than I was before. And that also comes because I had to learn how to do and adapt to this culture by myself, basically. So that's where the confidence and independence came from. Because in Estonia, you know, you're living with your mom, your parents, they cook your food. They do everything. So yeah, and also I used to be really shy. I used to hate going up to people and just talk. I always, yeah, I didn't really talk much. Whereas now I feel like I want to always talk. I want to go out and, you know, experience different things and talk to different people, make new friends. Yeah, it's something that I've recently discovered, that I'm not as introverted as I used to be anymore.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's very good. And also, you know, because we do have, you know, by, you know, the statistics of the podcast, we do have a lot of listeners from Estonia as well, of people that maybe are listening because they want to come here, or, you know, people from here who are at the beginning of their journey. What would you say, like, looking back, or, you know, even right now, because we always see like so many of these new backpackers come in and then, you know, try to make their way in, but then, you know, whatever. What would you say, like, from your point of view, that are like the common mistakes that people make as a backpacker when they are here?
As we all have talked about it before, money. Yeah, you will not get rich. You have to really work hard. So get that out of your head right away when you come here and you think you're gonna earn some big bucks. Like, no.
You know, your English is absolutely amazing, and I've already talked about this on my Patreon as well. You know, how to really succeed in Australia, and how to get those jobs, and how to stay in those jobs, and how to get into the, you know, bigger paying jobs and actually stay there and succeed. How did you get your English to be that good? Would you have any tips for someone who's like just come here and they can, you know, because I've had so many friends, especially Estonians, when they come here, you know, you have this really strong accent, and you can't really make those great, you know, tight friendships at work either, because you just don't know, you know, you don't maybe understand what people are telling you, and so on. So I've actually had people ask me, like, how did I get my English, you know, better, so I don't have to think about like in Estonian in my head. What would you say, like, what's been the game changer for you, or how did you get your English to such a good level?
It definitely comes with time. My English has never been bad when I first moved here either, guys. I was grown up with Netflix, sorry, Nickelodeon, Disney. So they're all in English. So I kind of, you know, learned English from there already, and the accent probably came from, you know, American and English TV as well. But I remember when I first moved here, I was so shy speaking English. Like, even when I had to call recruiters, or even like order takeaway from Domino's, I had to write it down in my notes. It was like, hey, I'm Kätriin. I would like to order a Hawaiian pizza. This is my address. And like now I don't even think. I just pick up a phone and I just talk. So it definitely comes with time. And for me also, I do have a lot of Estonian friends in Australia, but I feel like I have more friends that are not Estonians. I've also, and my, you know, last relationship was also not Estonian. So I had to kind of start speaking English a bit more, and that kind of just obviously got me a bit more out of the comfort zone as well, and made me a bit more confident with my English. So definitely just talk to different people, I guess, as well. Just put yourself out there that are non-Estonians.
Yeah, I think that's really like the key for you to survive in the mining industry, and, you know, getting all the jobs that you have been able to do as well, really, because I've had so many, you know, backpackers that I've had to teach in FIFO that just don't understand what I'm saying, and I'm like, you can't really do much, can you? Like,
but some people pick up the language straight away, because I used to work with a French guy, and you know, French, like their accents are pretty strong. But this boy moved over to Australia with no English whatsoever, and he was working on the same mine site, and he just, like, at the end of the project, he was really good, like proper conversations. The French accent wasn't even that French anymore. It was, because obviously he was put in with the crew that was mostly Australian, so he had to speak English. So you pick up it really, really easily, to be fair. So
nice. Tea time.
Tea time.
Would you be open to tell our listeners, how much do you make in FIFO?
So the most I've earned in a week doing FIFO has been $4,200 without tax. So yeah, without tax. So that's been the most. But there's a lot of FIFO jobs that the pay usually ranges from 3,600 to like 4,200. So that's like what you can expect when you work FIFO. Obviously, you can earn more and you can earn less depending on the company and what you do.
And also, like, to give tips out, and really, if you know how to like maybe read out the tickets, because we also have like people writing to the podcast always to be, because you know, a trade assistant is normally the role that everybody tries to get to. I always sort of also say, like, you know, you have 200 or 300 different people applying for the position, because it's, you know, the most, you know, unskilled position you can get. But if someone wants to try out to become a trade assistant, what would you say the first initial tickets are to even start applying?
Well, you always need a white card, working heights, EWP, and I'd say CPR LVR. I think those were, because I know confined space is really popular as well.
Yes,
but
and gas testing for me has been key.
Yeah, but for me, I've been with like 5-6 different companies, and only one company has asked for confined space and gas.
Really?
Yeah. So it is, obviously people ask for it, but I don't. Yeah.
And, you know, because you've moved in between different projects as well, so obviously you've been in that position where you've had to reapply to try to get back in. What has worked the best for you?
I'm actually shocked because usually people say once you're in FIFO because you know people. But for me, I don't know what it is, but I always find jobs through Seek. Like, genuinely, I just apply and I get it. And I feel like all my jobs, I think I've gotten from Seek, my FIFO jobs. Yeah.
So it's mainly your resume is just that strong with that previous experience, and already, you know, you have all those tickets in there, I'd say.
Probably. And I got loads of inductions as well, which is a really good thing. And that's what I've been actually told from another recruiter. When I tried to call a recruiter and get a job, then she was like, hey, so first things first, fix your resume and put in your inductions. What inductions have you done? Because that definitely pushes you. And ever since that, I always put my inductions in my resume. So that's, I think, a good tip.
Yeah, well, you can't really do that when you're just starting out.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I have heard like you can buy Rio Tinto inductions on BHB, but I personally still haven't been able to find that you'll be able to do them without actually being approved.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. What's next for you? What's coming for Kätriin this year?
Oh, so I think this year I'm gonna go on a student visa. Don't really want to, but has to be done.
So if there is an Australian,
yeah, there's an Australian boy, please.
Immigration, please don't watch this.
Yeah,
student visa. So nursing is out. Is it?
I could still go and study to become a nurse, but it would be from a college, which wouldn't be what I genuinely would like to do. But I've been looking at other options as well. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I actually want to do as well, because I don't want to study something that I don't want to study just for me to stay in Australia. So yeah, and a lot of things that I want to study are all in uni, so a lot of money is needed. So
yeah. So what's option 2 for you?
Option 2. No, there's no option 2. I'm gonna fucking stay here. Yeah. I'm gonna stay here.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, in 6 months. Oh, when's your visa over?
October.
So you don't have long.
Don't say that to me, please.
Is there anything else that you feel that you would like to share? Because, you know, we do have a lot of, you know, people that are mostly, I would say most of the people that are listening to this podcast are people that are starting out, I would say, who are quite new to Australia. Is there anything else that you want to maybe put to their hearts or get people to, you know, like give out some tips or...
Be confident. Just believe in yourself. If you want to, like, I feel like I manifested, to be fair, all my jobs because I just manifest. No, but seriously, if you want to get a job, call recruiters. Be annoying because that's what actually gets you a job. Just be annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put yourself out there.
I agree. Thank you so much for today. If you have made it to the end of this podcast, thank you so much. If you want to get more tea, more juice, more details of the FIFO, not that we're trying to put FIFO life down, it's absolutely saved my life and probably yours. I'm so grateful to be able to get into that industry, and I think we were both really lucky to be here before COVID started, because after COVID, the reason why so many backpackers got into FIFO was because Australians didn't want to get vaccinated, so they all left and we all sort of went back in. I remember I was like, fucking give me all the shots I need. I just want to get to FIFO. So I definitely have some things that I want to share. Maybe we'll just public. So everyone who wants to listen more about like maybe what to look out for as a female in the FIFO industry, go to our Patreon. It's linked in the description of the podcast. And I'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching another episode of Just Call Me Bridget podcast. If you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss upcoming episodes. And also, if you would like to see more of the podcast and more from our guests, subscribe to our Patreon channel as well. I have so much information in there already. You'll also be able to do a Australian consultation with me. And there's heaps of other different options, and you can also support this channel. If you do have any questions or you have maybe other guests that you're thinking that you would love to have on this podcast, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in another episode.